66 million years ago. Imagine a world you've only seen in dreams. The Earth was a paradise of giants, a living, breathing masterpiece painted in vibrant greens and deep, endless blues. This was a planet ruled by the most magnificent, most awe-inspiring creatures to have ever walked its surface. This day, this fateful day, began just like any other, a perfect symphony of life. In the heart of what we now call North America, a Tyrannosaurus, the undisputed king, stood watch from a rocky outcrop, surveying its vast domain. Don't picture a monster from a horror film. See it for what it was, an apex predator, the pinnacle of a perfectly balanced ecosystem, a parent and a hunter. This Tyrannosaurus lets out a powerful roar, its breath misting in the cool morning air. A declaration of its existence, echoing across a valley teeming with life. Down by the river, life thrived in blissful ignorance. Herds of triceratops, moving like walking fortresses with their formidable horns and frills, gathered with their young to drink from the clear, cool water. Nearby, a true giant, an Alamosaurus, stretched its impossibly long neck towards the heavens, browsing on the leaves of towering trees that would dwarf any elephant today. The air hummed, not just with the buzz of insects, but with the powerful, leathery beat of pterosaur wings as they soared on thermal updrafts. The world was loud, it was vibrant, and it was completely, utterly unaware of the cosmic appointment it was about to keep. But high above the pristine canopy, far beyond the clouds, a visitor had arrived. For months, it had been a strange new star in the night sky, a source of curiosity for any creature with the cognitive ability to notice such things. But now, it was no longer just a nighttime spectacle. It was visible in broad daylight, a silent, ominous point of light shining brighter than anything else in the sky. It was a silent messenger of doom, a 6-mile-wide rock hurtling through the vacuum of space at over 40,000 miles per hour, closing the final gap on its 66-million-year journey. The animals, with their senses far more attuned to the planet's subtle whispers, were the first to feel it, a strange, almost imperceptible shift in the Earth's gravitational field, a strange, crackling energy in the air that made their skin, scales, and feathers crawl. It was a deep, primal instinct screaming from their ancient DNA that something was terribly, fundamentally wrong. Great herds grew restless, their usual calm shattered by an unseen anxiety. Predators abandoned their hunts mid-stalk, their heads snapping up to stare at that malevolent eye in the sky. Flocks of Quetzalcoatlus, the giraffe-sized rulers of the sky, took flight from their cliffside nests in a sheer panic, their movements chaotic and desperate, driven by a terror they couldn't possibly comprehend. Then, silence. For a few heartbeats, the world held its breath. It came. A mountain torn from the asteroid belt, forged in the violent chaos of the early solar system, had kept its appointment with destiny. From orbit, it was a terrifyingly beautiful sight, a colossal asteroid wreathed in plasma and fire, screaming towards the beautiful blue-green curve of the Earth over what we now call the Gulf of Mexico. The first sign on the ground wasn't a sound, it was light, an impossible, silent, white-hot flash of energy that instantly vaporized the ocean and incinerated the land for hundreds of miles in every direction. The explosion was brighter than 1,000 suns, a flash so intense it would cook the very air and permanently burn the shadows of trees and animals into the ground. For anything with eyes to see it, it was the last thing they ever saw. Seconds later, the sound arrived. It wasn't a noise. It was a physical wall of force, a blast wave moving faster than the speed of sound, a visible ring of compressed air that circled the globe not once, but multiple times. It ripped the world apart. Ancient forests that had stood for millennia were flattened in an instant, giant trees snapping like dry twigs. A lone ankylosaurus, a living tank weighing several tons, was picked up and thrown through the air like a child's toy. The ground itself heaved and bucked in a magnitude 11 earthquake, far stronger than anything modern humanity has ever recorded, liquefying the very land upon which these giants stood. The impact was only the beginning. The incredible force of the collision threw trillions of tons of pulverized rock and debris back up into space, far above the atmosphere. As this material fell back to Earth under the pull of gravity, friction with the air heated the particles to incandescent temperatures. They became billions of tiny, fiery meteors. The sky itself caught fire. Across the globe, forests, plains, and jungles that were thousands of miles from the impact site spontaneously combusted. A planetary firestorm raged, turning the dinosaurs' paradise into a global vision of hell. The oceans, which had been vaporized at the point of impact, fought back with unparalleled fury. The impact triggered mega tsunamis, waves not tens, but hundreds of meters high. These colossal walls of churning, debris-filled water scoured the coastlines of the world, traveling thousands of miles inland, washing away everything and everyone in their path. For the creatures of the Cretaceous, there was no place to hide. On that day, the sky fell, the ground shook, and the seas rose to claim the land. Eventually, the fires burned themselves out. The raging waters receded, but the world was plunged into a new kind of horror: darkness. A thick, choking veil of soot, ash, and vaporized rock from the impact enveloped the entire planet, blocking out the light of the sun. This was the beginning of the long night. A nuclear-style impact winter that would last for years, causing temperatures to plummet and killing off the plants that formed the base of the food chain. The world grew cold, dark, and silent. The age of giants was over. In a single catastrophic day, a reign of 150 million years was brought to a crushing, violent, and absolute end. 75% of all life on Earth was wiped out. But life is stubborn, it endures. In the deep shadows of the fallen titans, hiding in the ash and the cold, the small and the resilient held on. Hiding in burrows under the roots of dead trees, our distant ancestors, tiny, shrew-like mammals, peeked out. Their eyes, wide with fear and wonder, reflected a bleak, ruined world as the first toxic snowflakes began to fall. They survived. The Cretaceous period didn't just end, it was shattered, making way for a new world to rise from the ashes. In the silent, post-apocalyptic landscape, a fossilized skull of a Tyrannosaurus rex lies half buried in the earth. Growing through its empty eye socket is a single, vibrant green fern, a symbol of impossible resilience, reaching for a faint light that is finally beginning to break through the clouds. The day the dinosaurs died was a terrible, tragic end, but it was also a beginning. It was the day the age of mammals was truly born. If you were captivated by this journey into our planet's dramatic and violent past, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing for more stories from the deep history of our world. We'd love to know in the comments what ancient event or lost world you want us to explore next. Thank you for watching.